Hi, my name is Miguel Angel Irra from Mexico City, and this week I'm gonna talk to you about the dynamic range and the many ways producers manipulate dynamic range. Well, dynamic range is abbreviated as DR or DNR, and it is the radio between the largest and the smallest possible measures of a changeable quantity, such as in signals like sound and light. It is measured as radio, or a bass minus 10 decibels or bass minus 2 decibels, which is doublings, bits, or stops, logarithmic value. Dynamic range in human perception is the human senses of sight and hearing have a very high dynamic range. A human is capable of hearing and usefully discerning anything from a quiet murmur in a soundproofed room to the sound of the loudest heavy metal concert. Audio engineers often use dynamic range to describe the radio of amplitude of the loudest possible undistorted sine wave to the root mean square, RMS, noise amplitude, say, of a microphone or loudspeaker. The dynamic range of human hearing is roughly 140 decibels. The dynamic range of music as normally perceived in a concert hall does not exceed 80 decibels, and human speech is normally perceived over a range of about 40 decibels. In digital audio theory, the dynamic range is limited by quantization error. The maximum achievable dynamic range for a digital audio system with qubit uniform quantization is calculated as the ratio of the largest signal wave RMS to RMS noise is. The maximum achievable signal-to-noise ratio SNR for a digital audio system with qubit uniform quantization is. Dynamic range in analog audio is the difference between low-level thermal noise in the electronic circuitry and high-level signal saturation, resulting in increased distortion, and if pushed higher, clipping. Multiple noise processes determine the noise floor of a system. Noise can be picked up from microphone self-noise, preamp noise, wiring and interconnection noise, media noise, etc. The rugged elements of moving coil microphones can have a dynamic range of up to 140 decibels at increased distortion, while condenser microphones are limited by the overloading of their associated electronic circuitry. Practical considerations of acceptable distortion levels in microphones combined with typical practices in a recording studio result in a useful operating range of 125 decibels. In music, dynamic range is the difference between the quietest and loudest volume of an instrument part or piece of music. In modern recording, this range is often limited through dynamic range compression, which allows for louder volume but can make the recording sound less exciting or live. The term dynamic range may be confusing in music because it has two conflicting definitions, particularly in the understanding of the loudness.